Hello everybody, it's Mike the Baldadonis. Boom! Alright, part 2 of why I went to prison for 5 years, 3 months. On the last episode, I got not a lot of feedback, but I have some people that are like, oh, this is bait, bait click or whatever it's called. I'm like, no, if you listen to the video, this was a video in a couple of episodes, just like a HBO or a regular TV series. I have a YouTube channel and I want to stretch some things out. And it leaves you guys guessing what's going to happen. So this is part 2, and thank you for all my supporters and my subscribers. Thank you very much. So let's begin. On the last episode, or the first episode, I talked about how I bought into a repair shop. Then we moved to Arizona, packed up the repair shop, drove out there, only for my buddy to leave me 2 days later. Now I spent 3 months there. And now we're on 1990, the winter time of 1990. I get home after having no money. I sell everything in Arizona, get me enough for a plane ticket to fly home. So I get home, I have no money, zero money to my name. Now, in the last episode, I told you I knew a drug dealer. So I search him out. It wasn't hard. I have his phone number. Now this kid had a friend. They both were partners. They're the same age as me at the time. They just ran a little bit of shit around, a little bit of cocaine. But, when I got home, now you're depressed, you're defeated because, you had something hopefully going on with your life that you're going to build up on. I wanted to live in Arizona. I wanted to have a repair shop. And for me to come home and, Arizona was beautiful. I come back home to New England and Boston area and, it's shitty out. It's dark at 5 o'clock, and, I wasn't digging coming back home. So, when everybody has friends from school, when I started seeing this kid, I bought a quarter ounce of cocaine at the time. It was $350 for 7 grams. Now, when I started, it was simple. I was gonna sell half a grams for 50 bucks. And I was getting it. I had to start somewhere to get me going. Unfortunately, the first batch that I had, I did half of it with my friends. So I made no money. I had a few bucks. I actually had to sell a gold chain that my mom bought me for Christmas. Nothing worse than selling something that your mom or someone that you love gave to you because you're desperate. That's the worst feeling, I think anybody can experience is when you do something like that, knowing either you have a problem and you're selling jewelry or you're stealing stuff. It's just not a good feeling, it's embarrassing. So I want to apologize to my mom for doing that. I always felt bad that I had to do that. But life goes on, and I sold it to my friend to get me back on track. So I bought another quarter ounce of cocaine, $350 worth. Now I'm starting to make a little bit of money. Now at 20 years old, I came from nothing after coming home from Arizona. When I just said a few minutes ago about all your school friends, well, this is where this comes in play. Everybody is now starting to turn 20, 21, they're 22 years old, whatever. They're out in the bar scene. Now they're starting to do, some drugs, whatever, They're either getting stoned with weed, some cocaine, whatever. This is back in 1990, the Boston area. This was very normal for where I lived. Everybody in my city, a lot of people sold something. You know what I mean? Things fell off a truck. We had mafia. We had everything under the sun, just like any other big city. You know what I mean? It was normal to see drug dealers doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just hustlers, It was just kind of normal. But we were just in the middle class version of something like that. You know what I mean? So when I started selling my drugs, first it would be a few friends, and then next thing you know, their friends, and then next thing you know, it was their friends. It started to pick up. It started to pick up where now I'm going from quarter ounce, half an ounce, you know what I mean? So on a typical night, so when I came home, I had no license. I got myself in trouble, driving cars without a license and driving like an idiot that they revoked my license. Now, I got caught up many times in doing that, so now, I have warrants for my arrest. I just want to clear it up. I mean, I was looking at some small jail time, maybe 6 months, you know what I mean? But I was just running away from that problem. So I had a friend that lived around the corner from me. His name is Pat. He owned an '85 Jeep Wrangler. I loved this Jeep Wrangler. It wasn't like brand new or nothing. It was just right, just old enough, but still reliable enough that it was cool. And when I came home, I had my long hair, skinny little fuck. I mean, well, skinny with long hair. And I would just love driving that. He used to give it to me all the time. He had 2 cars. So he let me use his Jeep all the time. It didn't matter. He literally lived 7 houses away. So I just run up to his house, borrow his Jeep, bring it back when I was done. But on a typical Friday night, when it just started to roll, I was driving everywhere. On a good night, as soon as I was starting to make money, it was $1,000 on a Friday night. Now, in today's money, that is $1,875. How I know? I asked my cell phone. So $1,875 on a Friday night, that ain't bad. At 20 years old. And I'm driving around, I'm just having fun. I'll go to a bar, sneak in the bar. I didn't have to buy a drink yet. I wasn't of age, but I still was able to go to the bar, have a water or something. So many times just running around. Business is starting to pick up. Now those friends, I'm getting their friends and more friends still. It was crazy. How does a kid that has no money start to evolve to have some serious money now? On a Friday night, $1,000 a week. Every Friday, $1,000. That was typical. Now, because the crowds that I'm hanging out with, friends would bring me other places. I would go to this place in Malden. It's called the Granada Highlands. It was a complex that had a restaurant. It had all the buildings, and these people had money. And these were also a type of place where people from out of state would do construction jobs. So these guys are making a ton of money. They used to hang out at this bar. A friend would call me, and next thing you know, I'm fucking killing it. Just going to this bar two times a night, 3 times a night, because now people have different shifts or different days off. Now I'm being busy every single day. Every single day. $500, $600, $1,000, $1,500 a day. It was just a lot. And I was doing this for 8 months. I ended up getting a girlfriend. Her name was Danielle. And her group of friends, they did it. We did it. So it was just non-stop running around partying. I used to buy all these cars. And how would I buy these cars without a license? Well, one of these people that lived in those apartment buildings happened to work at the Massachusetts registry, DMV. I simply asked her, because she worked the camera, if I can get my license with my friend's name. And she did it. She did it. So I used my friend's information with my face on it. And I got caught up in that because I used to get pulled over all the time. The cops knew who I was. They're like, who's this? I was like, that's me. They're like, now they can't really prove me wrong. I get a license that has the right address and everything else, but I'm coming from another house. So with the cars that I bought, I would be buying a Chevelle SS 1970. I bought a 78 or a 79 Corvette, which was a big piece of junk. Oh my God, what a piece of junk. But it looked good driving down the street, you know what I'm saying? It was silver with the blue on the bottom and the shittiest interior ever. But I looked good driving down the street. I had a motorcycle, 1984 GPZ 750. And that I used to take the license plate too. A friend of mine gave me his license plate. It said 1980 on it because it was 1990. We took some clay, fucked around with the numbers a little bit, painted it, 1990. So I'm driving around without a license, uninsured, attaching plates, whatever else on the motorcycle as well. So I used to have this guy. He actually owned his own tow truck company, but he had 2 limousines. And one of the limousine drivers happened to know people that were connected, shall I say. He was a great guy, and his part-time thing was driving a limousine. Now, back then, it was cool to have a limousine. It was just pretty cool, you know what I mean? And you get your friends. Every week, after a certain point, he would pick me up, pick up my friends, drive around in a limousine. He knew where all my customers lived. I used to pull up to my customer's houses in a limousine. All right? Not very bright, right? But because it's all new to me, you know, having all this money, I still live with my parents, but my friend with the Jeep, his family owned a few houses. And one of the houses was a three-family story house, a three-story house, I should say. The bottom apartment, 400 and something bucks. Yeah, I think that was 450 bucks as well. You know, it wasn't the best neighborhood. It was actually a couple streets away from my mom's house. It just happened to be going towards the other end of town. And I would have that just to fuck around. I didn't have a bed. Actually, I did have a bed. I bought a water bed from a friend's father and never put it together. You know, it was something I can stash my stuff in, have some fun, be local, and get all messed up. So, what else? I don't know. So, the girl, Danielle, I really liked her. She was really pretty, but she was kind of an airhead. She's cool. I'm still friendly with her today. She's like, you know, she smokes pot, you know, so she's a little stoner. And unfortunately, I still had something for the other girlfriend that I had when I moved to Arizona. And when I started making all this money, I used to drive by in her town. She would see me. She'd be like, whose car is that? Now, when I started seeing her again, I had a Corvette. I had a Mustang LX notchback ex-police car that needed a paint job. So I mean, these cars weren't like brand new or nothing. They were just, you know, $2,500 cars, $1,800 cars. And the Corvette, again, that was a dump of a car, but it looked good. You know what I mean? So she started realizing that I'm making money. Now she wants to hang out again. So, because we started hanging out again, I'm starting to really dig her again. I always loved that girl, and it just felt right for me to be with her. This is where things happen. As I was starting to get back together with this girl, the girl Danielle, I pushed her off for the other one. That's what I did. I pushed her off, went back to the other girl, and I was too busy with selling these drugs that my friend Pat, now we're going back to Pat again, the one that let me use his Jeep, the one that I had at his apartment, his dad's apartment. He worked at a gas station part-time. Now this kid worked, you know what I mean? He was a good kid. He worked a couple jobs, and his co-worker asked him, we're going in November of 1990. I'm already 21 years old, my birthday's in July, so now I can go to the bars, have drinks and party and all that shit. My friend Pat asked me, Mike, I get my friend, he works with me, can you get me or get him 4.5 ounces? I was like, that's a lot. I don't buy that much. I buy 1 ounce at a time. You know what I mean? I might get it 3 times a week, maybe twice a week. It depends. You know what I mean? It depends on how people are busy. Sometimes, whatever it was, you know. So that was an order that I have to ask for. No problem getting it, but something told me, I was like, you know what? He goes, and Pat also said, I'll give it to him. That's not a problem. I'm like, no, I'll meet your friend. I mean, it's your friend, right? I have no problem meeting him. Now, this is where you're at, 21 years old, being naive, you know, and you don't know any better. You know, obviously you see that I'm stupid as it is, you know what I mean? So the guy reaches out to me. I've never met him at my friend's work. My friend just gave me a number. I get in touch with this guy. He actually calls me and says, hey, thanks for helping me out. My guy is away for the holidays, and I need this amount. And I'm like, all right, yeah, no problem. But there was always something there in your stomach, in your gut, you know, just something not right. You know what I mean? That intuition's kicking in and saying, I don't know what's going on with this dude. So again, I never met him. All I get was my friend Pat saying, this is my buddy. So I trust my friend, right? So we arranged to meet in Charlestown, Massachusetts. It's called the Charras Building in 1990. And I told him I was going to be in one of my other cars, not the one that I was coming in with, just to throw him off a little bit, you know what I mean? So I kind of had that feeling going in, you know what I mean? So as I'm driving in to meet this guy, I mean, I'm like sick to my stomach with that intuition. It's just, you know, I'm just not feeling it. But I show up, I see the guy, gets in my car, you know, he's tall, decently built, you know what I mean? Like myself, he's lean, built, tall, clean cut, too clean cut, you know what I mean? So he gets in my car. I actually brought a knife with me, like Crocodile Dundee back in the day. I had that big giant knife. I don't know what I was gonna use it for. It was just to have for protection or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, it was in the car with me. He takes the stuff, looks at it, and goes, oh, do you have a scale so I can weigh it? I'm like, no, do you have a scale? He's like, oh, yeah, I think I have one in my car. He gets out of his car and does this. As soon as he did that, boom. Boston police, state police, surround my whole car. I'm out of the car. I'm like, you know, all done, arrested. 4.5 ounces, equaling 10 years of prison time in 1990 on Governor Weld's policy for mandatory sentencing. The reason why he wanted 4.5 ounces is over 100 grams. Anything over 100 grams equals 10 years in prison now. I did not know that. Now, that was in November. If this happened, you know, a few months prior to that, before the bill kicked in, I was looking at 2.5 years. Big difference, right? Big difference. So, I get arrested, spend the night, state police. The next day, I'm in the back of the state trooper car, driving to Cambridge, Mass. to be arraigned. And along the way, the state trooper wants to be a super trooper and pull somebody over. He asked me though, he goes, hey, you mind if I pull this guy over? I'm like, yeah, go for it. This looks cool. I'm in the back of your fucking cruiser and you're pulling somebody over in rush hour traffic. So I get there, you know, already there's a court-appointed lawyer waiting for me after my quick visit to the judge. $50,000 bail. First, it was $100,000. I'm like, $100,000? And then that lawyer said we can get it to 50. We got it down to 50. And then I go to Nashua Street Jail for bail. So to find out the rest of that story, you're gonna have to tune in to part 3. At least you got the story, guys. It wasn't maybe as what you thought it was. You know, I could have done all this in one video. It might have been like an hour's worth of video, but I wanted you guys just to think about 1990. What was it like to be in 1990? I had the big cell phone. Remember those big, no, a lot of you don't even know this. The cell phones back then with this big brick, real thin. You could almost kill somebody. That's how heavy this phone was. The phone back then, $1 a minute. $1 a minute. My phone bill used to be $800 to $1,200 a month. Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah, so, you know, we'll wait till next week, guys. I'm sorry about the video being posted one day late. It's because I went to Portsmouth, New Hampshire on Saturday, and to do that video, I had several clips that I had to put together and make it and edit it. I'm still getting used to all this type of being creative with my videos. I have an obsolete computer. As my mentor, Dr. Peter, would say, it's a piece of shit. So I have to upgrade that to an Apple, probably in the very, very, very near future, so I can make life a lot easier for me and bang out a video very quickly. Yeah, so until the next video, everybody, thank you again for watching my videos and showing some interest in what I have to say. So until the next video, the Baldadonis out.